Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're doing very well today, and I've been all over the place lately, as you know. Been playing some mono-red prowess in Modern, been, of course, investigating the new format in Pioneer, been playing some donation leagues as always, but you know me, you know we're always going to return home, and home, in my case, and in many of your cases as well, is BG the Rock Golgari Midrange in Modern. We're going to bring you some more content from that. Beautiful archetype live right now. We're just looking at the list that I've been playing the last few times out. We're actually going to make a couple quick changes to it. First, I got to show you something else. This is from my Patreon page, and a relatively new supporter, Bloodlights, a new Inquisitor, has commented, "Wow, I've got it, my first 5-0 with a nice Sultai list," and he goes on to say that it was inspired by this channel and the content, specifically the Saltier Sultai donation league that I played recently from Anthony Zolman was the donor for that. So Bloodlights here with the Sultai 5-0, giving Anthony's already unique take on Sultai a different twist. So spicing in the Rankle, playing an Oko, a one-of Jace, otherwise a lot of the same stuff going on, working those Thought Scours in as well. Very cool, so I just wanted to briefly shout that out. This is what it's all about, right? This makes it so worth it. This makes it so fun for me, and hopefully so fun for you. This is a beautiful circle, you know. A guy out there, Anthony in this case, has an idea for a direction to take Sultai. He has me play it for him and for thousands of you, and then some people out there are inspired to put their own further twist on it, and it, you know, success is building on success, basically. So shout out once again to Anthony, shout out to Bloodlights as well, congrats, my friend, and to all Patreon supporters out there. If you do ever get a big 5-0, get something published, do well in a big event, let me know and I'll shout you out just like this. The other thing I want to show you is the current look at the Modern metagame. I haven't been following it that closely, been being pulled in a bunch of different directions. Real life has been really busy, plus all the aforementioned different things going on for me in Magic. So, the reason I'm showing you this is because look at the top 12. We got Amulet Titan, Eldrazi Tron, Regular Tron, Blue-White Control, and Titan Shift. 5 very good reasons to play Fulminator Mage. 5 of the 12 top decks, and hey, he even sometimes comes in against Burn depending on your 75. So let's amend that to 6 of the current top 12 decks are decks against which we would be interested in Fulminator. So, there we go. To that end, I am going to bring, I don't think all 3 back, but let's bring back 2 for the purposes of this league, see how it goes. I have made some videos on the Fulminator question. I've made a deck tech for Post Eldraine with and without Fulminator. I think the no Fulminator experiment has been totally fine. It's been totally legit. I think we've established, if there was any doubt, we've established that the deck can definitely function without that 3 of Fulminator. We've been doing just fine on results. However, Big Mana is really putting its roots down right now. I guess when the format slows down, that's somewhat inevitable. So we're going to bring back a couple Fulminator at least. Gotta hedge against that, right? So what are we going to do to make way for it is a good question. I think the first thing I'm going to do is cut this Decay. I do like having the further cheap removal in the board, just a cheap spell in general in the board, because we are kind of high curve in our sideboard. But at the same time, Abrupt Decay is not really a sideboard card. I'd prefer to main deck it, and I'd also prefer not to change my main deck, so I guess we're just going to cut it. And then for the second cut, I think we're going to move away from Kalitas. We're going to hang on to 2 Ashiok, so we're pretty well configured against the big mana decks, as well as mid-range is realistically going to be. And retaining those 2 Ashioks means we already have some slow graveyard hate. We don't need Kalitas as much. Now, Kalitas is obviously very good in the mid-range mirrors, but we've got a ton of gas for that. And if we're keeping hold of Kitchen Finks, want to try this out a little more. Plus, we've already got a couple 4-drops in the deck now. So, again, just like Abrupt Decay, Kalitas is very, very good in this deck. But I kind of want to see a little bit more out of Finks and Rider. I want to play these cards in Modern a little bit more than I have in the recent past. Therefore, those are our quick changes, and we're going to get straight, my friends, into a league for you. I've been so busy lately. I've been so busy lately, and I feel like I can't take a break because there's just so much cool stuff to do in Magic, and you know, believe me, if I didn't have this channel, I would have been taking a break a long time ago. So I do want to say thank you to all Patreon supporters who keep me plugging away at it, even when I would maybe prefer to take a break. But your support does make it all worth it. So thanks to you, thanks to all the viewers as well. And let's play. Let's play. So we're going to keep this painful hand. Hopefully our life total does not matter overly much. If it does, we're going to be taking a lot of pain from our early progression, but we can still play around it to a certain extent. But it's not going to be good if we're against an aggro deck. And we are not. Fatal Push, Arkham's Astrolabe, Emery, Lurker of the Loch. So, kind of an interesting question here. The obvious take is Emery, but yeah, I mean, I guess we have to assume we're hitting our third land, otherwise our hand just doesn't function, right? I think we're gonna take the Emery. Hanging on to our Fatal Push for further Emerys for Urzas is fine. The temptation there, though, was to either, of course, just take Astrolabe to slow them down, slow down their artifact count and their cantripping, or even to take the Fatal Push so we could just run out Hexdrinker early and try to race them. Honestly, all three of those were viable. It was an interesting spot right out of the gates, and we do draw our third land. So I think what we're going to do here is run out the Hexdrinker as Fatal Push bait, because hanging on to it doesn't really accomplish a great deal for us, with our plan being Liliana tick up. So we're going to basically force them to push this turn. And if they don't, well, then maybe we get to just go on the Hexdrinker plan and slow roll our Lily a little bit. But yep, so this is totally fine. Did they have 3 islands in hand? No. Okay, so I have tracked the hand accurately. Okay, we draw Tarmogoyf. Cool. But I think we're going to get to work with the Lily. And I think we're priced into ditching QB. Just don't know that we're going to draw an untapped land next turn. We do already have a threat in the form of Goyf. Feels bad, man. Oh, okay, they played the Rainforest. That's where I mistracked the hand, right? Yeah, they went turn 1 Rainforest, so we don't know anything in their hand, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, Treetop Village, sure. So are we rating Push or Treetop more highly? That's the only question here for us. There's real arguments to both. I think the safe thing to do is to keep the Fatal Push for 1 more turn, because they could be on an Urza. So sadly, we are going to ditch our very nice creature land here. We are, if the opponent is speculating here, we are sort of telegraphing that we have a push, probably by making a play like that, or some other form of removal. But still doesn't mean it's the wrong play. Well, some people wanted some gameplay against Urza decks. Here you go. Here you go. Round 1 of our first league in a little bit with the Rock. Now, I will say that I have been uncannily lucky, I guess, in dodging this matchup. I just haven't been seeing it, so I'm not an expert in it. I don't have the experience that I wish I did. And this is great here because we get to, of course, just push the token, then Edict Urza. And I think with Liliana in hand and other good things to draw, we're supposed to do just that. So we're glad we kept the push. I guess we should crack Peatland first in case we draw another push, right? Or some other way to kill an Urza. Sure. We don't. Alright, so here's where we hope the opponent's kind of out of 2-for-1s. They have priced us into stopping our march up toward the ult. So another Urza would be very painful here. Another Urza would kind of, you know, put us in the position where we're the ones who really need to make the right rip off the top. And that was another reason to crack Peatland there, just to keep digging through the deck. You can never have too much gas against one of the top decks in the format, that's for sure. Watery Grave tapped. And then a Whir for 1. Are we needling Liliana here? Sure are. Okay, that's annoying. Definitely annoying, but we've got a lot of outs to it. That's not really one of them. So, let's see here. I think we're probably supposed to hit that Inventor's Fair before they get to untap. And I don't think there's any downside to playing Urborg there, because they already have good enough mana fixing with Watery Grave and Arkham's Astrolabe that I cannot imagine Urborg has any downsides for us right now. But having drawn another land, that's pretty rough. Really just need to keep hitting the gas here, or the opponent to keep flooding. And they didn't flood. They've got a way to stay in it. But that's all they've got. So we gotta draw one of our answers to bridge. All we do is flood sometimes, don't we? Alright. Okay. Opponent flooding 2. Castle Locthwain. That in a very minor way punishes us for having sandbagged both lands. Because we just don't have quite as many activations with it, but of course we're still going to go right after it here. And hopefully this should give us the inevitability we need. Okay, Tarmogoyf Hexdrinker. Alright, so we're definitely going to play Hexy. And I think it's better to... I think it's definitely better to get another castle activation than to level Hexdrinker up or to dump out the Tarmogoyf. So we're going to put 1 level on Hexy here. And then we're going to pass holding up castle as second time. We've got a bunch of outs to the bridge. We really do. Very annoying card, though. These late game baubles are certainly not ideal for the opponent. Thopter Foundry is pretty good, though. Thopter Foundry is a pretty darn good one. Blooming Marsh. Thoughtseize. Man, oh man, oh man. Whew. Alright, so once again, we're gonna hold up the castle. This will be real rough if we drop this game, which it's looking increasingly like we will. So there's some desire to activate Castle just to conceal information before they crack their bauble. If that had been the case before they had the Thopter Foundry, like if they had cracked the bauble at this equivalent stage before they found the Foundry, I would have activated Castle in response. But now we don't want to go shields down. We want to bluff some kind of interaction for these Thopters. We don't want to just die to them, of course. We'll lose some life to the Castle. And now I don't know what we can have that's an out that beats the Bridge and the Foundry. And the Urza. Opponent is sending in the Thopters. Alright, let's go to 1. QB. Not an out to the Bridge. Okay, I mean, we're the deck with a million pieces of removal for Ensnaring Bridge, and I guess we just can't find one. Pretty rough. Pretty rough. You know, maybe Pioneer's not so bad. No Ensnaring Bridge, huh? Well, I don't think that's representative. I don't think we usually, like, take the lead and answer everything and then lose to a Bridge. Certainly not normal, but it can happen. It's why their deck is so good. It's one of many win conditions they have. Alright, so we have Ouphes. We have Plaguemen. Both pretty good here. Murderous Rider kills Emry and Urza. We might want it. We'll put Surgical in the maybe pile as well. And then Ashiok shutting down Whir is pretty interesting. Brutality can take Whir, can also kill Emry, but is a little lackluster against the kind of prison element of their deck, of course. So we have a lot of things to consider. I think we want to ditch these slower threats here, even though trackers would have been pretty great there. Also a non-bow with Ouphe. Can move away from Liliana to some degree. At least one, maybe a second. Probably a little better on the play as always. Scooze, and then Brutality's in this kind of limbo where I can see doing either one way or the other, and we kind of like everything else. Maybe Questing Beast is not the most necessary. Let's bring in these 6 for sure. Looks like we're just having to make a lot of cuts here, and what is the most impactful of what remains? I think we can realistically lose to too many different things to want to bring in Extraction. Again, when we have so few options here. So let's just bring in a 1 of Ashiok. It's totally fine as a 1 of. I think it's better overall than the others, and just make sure nothing else left in our deck is unappealing. I think I can leave in 2 lilies on the play. Maybe if we take him to game 3, we'll take away 1 on the draw. All right. That felt like the one that we should have won. And then we would just have to win one of the post-side games. But didn't happen. Let's try to get there. Games 2 and 3. And this hand is acceptable. We'll keep it. It doesn't directly disrupt very well, but Liliana on the play is very good at just generic disruption, and then Plague Engineer is our best specific answer, basically, to the Urza Sword combo, or just the value out of Thopter Foundry. I'm going to go Forest there because I'm not certain what I want to do, like how soon I want to run out Urborg. The other option was to play Verdant Catacombs, but if possible, I like to sandbag a fetch to help kill Urza with a Revolted Fatal Push. Might not be realistic. Maybe we should have just gotten the Tomb this turn. Alright, so they've got an Astrolabe, so I'm just going to play the Urborg because they have fixed their mana. Oh boy. Well, you know what we could draw as an Ouphe. I wouldn't be mad. Oh, turn 1 Emery. How nice. It's going to get a Bobble next turn, so it... Okay. Okay. Hexdrinker not the best here. We have enough threats. We need interaction. But Bob is a good turn 2 play, that's for sure. So opponent knows what we've got on top. Ooh. Okay. Now our Liliana Edict does not even take care of Emery. Actually, yes it does, because they don't have mana up for Thopter Foundry. Liliana's very bad against a turn 2 Foundry, though, but that's okay. We might be part of the War of Attrition here. We draw Inquisition. Sheesh. That's awkwardly timed, right? Because we want to fire it off now before it becomes bad, but at the same time, we kind of need to kill the Emery. So I think we're still going to go Liliana, kill your Emery. We've got Plague Man to clean up the tokens. Maybe next turn we can go Inquisition into Plague Man and it'll still be good. So opponent start's been excellent. However, we have good answers in our hand. We are on the play, and we are, until further notice, drawing 2 per turn. Our hand's not bad. Double Hexdrinker, awkward. But if we end up trading resources heavily, might be good. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. The turn 3 Urza following on the heels of the turn 1 Emery and the turn 2 Thopter Foundry. I mean, and then are they... Got another Astrolabe too. Yeah, you can see where Collector Ouphe is pretty good if unanswered against this deck nice and early. It's not like a lockdown or anything, but obviously puts a big cramp in their plans. Now we've got to try to beat a 7/7 construct, which currently we just can't do. But lots of draws in our deck allow us to do this. Wow. Jeez, that's really aggressive from the opponent in an attrition matchup. Playing a second Urza. Well, let's hope we punish them for that. Plague Engineer and Scavenging Ooze, opposite of punished, like just kind of annoyingly bad in this spot, actually. So, I don't think we can win anymore, but let's try. We're going to take up, I guess, get rid of our Inquisition. We've just drawn all threats, no interaction. So... kind of gotta go Plague Man. You know, we didn't even need Defect here, actually, just to have it. Plague Man and Hexy. So it's all well and good where we are in a couple ways, but of course the big problem is the Urza gas and the 8/8 constructs are pretty good too. And the opponent, of course, immediately is going to top deck something else, because that's just how this opening round is going. The Whir of Invention, yes. Okay, Sword of the Meek. So I guess they just plan on forcing us to eventually trade off our Plague Man, and then they have that win con, or maybe they didn't realize how this worked because they tried to make one and then they just stopped. So I think we're going to trade, we're going to chump block here rather than trade. Or, you know what we could do is trade and chump, and then we're priced into the other Plague Man next turn, but that might still be okay. Like, they get to make infinite Thopters, but I mean, I guess technically they'll just get infinite life. Yeah, let's try to draw like a Pulse for the constructs and try to keep our Plague Men around. So we'll take 8. We also have the Liliana Edict. We draw Push. Alright, let's begin with the Edict. Keeping the Plague Man around right now makes our opening Edict better here too. Okay, so they lose a Construct. Welding Jar protects the other one. What is our line here? What is our line? Kind of think we just need to do this. So now we have two ways to beat the construct. We can block one of them. We can block it once, get the Welding Jar out of it, and then push it, or vice versa. Maybe we just push it when they move to combat. Okay, Urza finds only a Mox Opal. Good for us. What did they draw for turn? Oh god, another Whir. I mean, oh no, okay, sorry. They just have enough mana to do that again. Interesting, they let that resolve. No welding. Oh, Welding Jar. Wait a minute. Yeah, this doesn't need to tap. Okay. I don't know what to make of that. Again, I'm not an expert in this matchup. Abrupt Decay. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so we're definitely playing a threat. Hexdrinker is just kind of what guarantees lethal next turn, but Scooze is what's going to have a higher chance of disrupting them or maybe even keeping us alive. Let's go Hexdrinker and start and maybe put a level or two on it, see if they have any actions to take here. Alright, so we're not holding up Decay this way, but let's just go all in on the Hexy. Trying to kill OP next turn. They can cash in artifacts for life, so we're not going to kill them next turn unless something unforeseen happens, but forcing them to do that would be, you know, obviously very good for us. We also block pretty well this way against that Urza attack, otherwise we would be chumping with Bob if Urza decides to get frisky. Okay, opponent looks like they have a Whir maybe. Yep. Is it bridge time? Because we have the Decay for that this time around. Maybe that's why they kept the Welding Jar. Yep. Alright, so we would be at risk of losing to our own Bob if we didn't have Scooze in hand. Because we have Scooze in hand, we might still be able to get there. Alright, Painless hit off the Bob. Definitely playing a Scooze this turn, and then I think we're going to pass. We want to be able to hold up Peatland and Decay and Scooze activations. Putting like a level on Hexdrinker is doable, but I think it's better to pass with 3 mana up like this. Alright, so the opponent has had a real strong progression. They've gotten, this is going to be like their 5th free card off of Whirza, and we're still really competitive, so it does show that we can hang in the matchup. It's just a tough deck in general to face. And we haven't found our Ouphe. Now, it's... ugh, gross. So, Oko's an out to Hexdrinker. It's also an out to Plague Engineer. Looks like it's going to try to get both Plague Men off the field here. Hopefully not right now. So we're now pressed into decaying the Oko so we can keep a Plague Man. Unless they have a second Oko here. That'd be very unfortunate. And the Whirza gas just keeps on going. What do you guys think? This card in danger of being banned here? Or anything from it, such as Mox Opal? Alright, so we could actually crack Peatland and then untap and still decay Oko. I think that's actually a little better. Gain a life with Ooze here, and double decay at least lets us attack this turn. I'd have to count if that's going to give us lethal. But we just hit 2 lands. Oh, unreal. Unreal, isn't it? So now we're priced into decaying Oko. Now I don't know how we're ever going to beat the bridge. I mean, what are you going to do, guys? What are you going to do? I'm going to put a single level on Hexdrinker. I think holding up 2 Scooze activations is a fine balance to be struck between that and putting Hexdrinker within range of level 8 if we ever manage to unlock ourselves. But, you know, Whirza gives them the inevitability here, right? So we can blow out the Emery tap with Scooze, so that's cool. That's something, but again, we're not really losing to that. We're losing to the bridge and the Whirza. But it is a nice little thing going our way. Fatal Push. So, I guess that probably does it. They generate Revolt, they push a Plague Man. They're just going to push Ooze. Alright, maybe I'm missing something. So, choose target artifact card in your graveyard. What do we not want them to cast? Should we just eat the sword and see what they do here? There's like only opals and baubles anyway in there. Okay, we just got the sword. So now what? Are they just doing this to try to kill us with our own Bob? I don't know, but, you know, eating an artifact doesn't really do anything, so I'm going to eat. I'm just going to gain a life. And then he got us. Go ahead. Go ahead with your turn. Again, maybe I am missing something here. They've got a few different sacrifice effects on board. I really thought they would have just taken care of the Plague Man. They find another Oka. Well, did they know that was on top? I mean, okay. Okay. There's no Sword of the Meek, though. Again, I don't know how we beat all this anymore. I think the answer is we don't, but I mean, during double Tarmogoyf. Okay. Sure, I'm gonna scoop. Gonna scoop. Both games we just got absolutely flooded with threats, and we're not overly heavy on threats. Even post-side we have a lot, but like it's not like we were too flooded on hate pieces. We didn't draw any Collector Ouphes, right? We're just drawing like a lot of Goyfs and Skoozes and Hexdrinkers when we only need 1 or maybe 2. We're getting like 5. So that coupled with our total lack of ability to draw these cards proved to be pretty much our downfall there. We needed the removal, the catch-all removal, or even the fatal pushes. I mean, killing an Urza, the complexion of that game, killing that Urza that stuck, complexion of that game changes markedly. I remember the opponent went really aggressive Urza into Urza right away, and we were not able to punish them by drawing a push or a trophy. Or our second Liliana even would have been rather punishing there. Those were good games, but, you know, it's certainly not my favorite matchup to play. Feels kind of like you're playing a different format than the opponent. And here we are in round 2 with a quite reasonable hand on the play. Okay, turn 1 Horizon Canopy go. I don't think most humans players keep a 7 with a turn 1 Canopy and no turn 1 play, but that's exactly what happened. So, humans it is. So, drawing trophy kind of sucks here because their mana kind of sucks and we're going to fix it. But still probably what we're supposed to do. And if we're going to do it, I guess we just do it main phase to make the Goyf nice and big. But yeah, that's annoying. Nevertheless, it'll be the play. And that's alright, you know, it's better than no removal at all, that I can tell you, so. Mantis Rider here would be a little bit punishing. Reflector Mage would be really rough, but we do have QB as a good turn 4 play. Yes, so. The big question is, do we seize the opportunity here to be mana efficient and push the Reflector? I don't believe I'm going to, simply because QB just makes Reflector irrelevant, at least until they get some buffs or they deal with the QB somehow. But it's worth noting that sometimes that suboptimal target is still the right target, because you need to be mana efficient in this matchup as well as, you know, resource cognizant and life total cognizant and aggressive. You just have to do a little bit of everything in this matchup. And I like this matchup for those reasons. It's very interesting. It feels like you are playing the same format as your opponent, unlike some of these Mox Opal decks, right? So it's not even really the Mox Opal decks like Scales and Affinity are clearly a modern feel. There's clearly a modern feel about them. And here's the aforementioned Mantis Rider. So we can pretty cleanly field their Canopy and then push it. If we draw another land, that's a very appealing play, because then we could go Tarmogoyf. We don't. So is it still an appealing play? I think it is, and I also think we should wait until their turn to do it. Let's also see if they block here, because their life totals are really low. And just like going Goyf might actually be better here. Okay. Alright, so what's the worst that could happen if we just play Goyf and let them untap? They could have, like, another Mantis Rider into 2 Lieutenants. We still wouldn't be dead. They could have just a bunch of nutso stuff with Reflectors, and Deputy of Detention would be a reason not to play a second Goyf, but if we're going to play one Goyf, we were kind of pricing ourselves into the second, because otherwise it's a waste of our turn. Unless we're just holding up non-revolted Fatal Push. I think I'm going to go for the Goyfs. I don't really see us losing when we do this. Especially because we have Brutality for reach next turn. So they don't even have good attacks along the ground unless they deal with QB. And if they deal with QB, they probably can't buff Reflector. Again, if they have, like, literal everything here, then they have literal everything, but literal everything could beat our other line as well. Our other line is literally just take away a Horizon Canopy, which is not that important when we're racing, and Fatal Push one thing. I think playing 2 Glyphs is better. They do have the second Mantis Rider. And they do have Athalia's Lieutenant, so far it's all coming true. Oh my god, did I call it? Rider and a double Lieutenant? Meddling Mage. Well, I'm probably going to name Push, right? Yep. Okay, I mean, we can Brutality that. We can push something. So it's fine. But, yeah, opponent almost did it. So we gotta kill your thing, we gotta drain you for 2. Oh, hold on. Meddling Mage is a 3/3 because of the way they sequenced. Okay. So there is no sorcerer in the yard. Goyfs are going to become 4/5s. So they're going to be dying with 3 things here. So I guess, and they have to block with everything. So I guess we're pretty good no matter what. Just trying to figure out the best possible line. I guess we should crack Peatland first. but I don't know what that realistically accomplishes. This could unlock a couple things. It does not. So they're probably going to have to block with the Meddling Mage, and that will unlock our Fatal Push. We will have to shock in for it. But hopefully we just kind of have done enough damage here. They don't have like a nutty last card in hand plus top deck. May also like lose a Goyf to a double block, in which case we can push a Rider because we'll have Revolt. We already have Revolt. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Possibly should have just shocked in and pushed right away. No, I'm sorry. It's getting complicated. We can't push yet, so I have sequenced correctly. I'm just speaking incorrectly. And I think they're supposed to assign the double block. Yes, they do. Okay. So we've got them pretty well hosed. All right, nicely done, and that should do it. They just need like Mantis Rider, Mantis Rider. And now they cannot cast Mantis Rider, Mantis Rider. Maybe like double Reflector Mage is scary. They don't have that anymore either. They could reflect a Questing Beast and then chump a Goyf with another human of some kind, but they don't get there. Nice. Good game, close game. That's magic. That's the magic we like to play. That's the magic we wish there was more of in Modern. Good times. And this whole category over here, we just slide that Surgical out, slide those Finks in, and this is pretty much what we want to play, these 6. In terms of what comes out, we can cut a Lily on the draw. We can call into question some of our slower and more painful card advantage engines. Especially on the draw, but we definitely are cutting Thoughtseizes. We're definitely playing all of these cards, so cutting 2 of these. I like going down to 2 Bob. So do we go down Lily or Tracker? Do we cut the 3rd Lily or do we cut a Tracker on the draw? Think we have enough value. I think we just have enough value. Let's just play more removal, even if she's a little subpar on the draw sometimes. I always think one day I'm going to try to cheese them out with like a 1-of Collector Ouphe, because like bears are just okay in the matchup if it's already close, and then you can really punish a Vial-based progression, but I never actually do it, because it's not actually correct. But one day I'm going to do it. Yes, it is a keep. It's a fine hand. It is soft to turn 1 Champion of the Parish for the aggression into turn 2 Thalia's Lieutenant for the text. Very soft to that. Just kind of soft in general to turn 2 Thalia, right? Noble Hierarch. Okay, we got our third land. That's fine. That's good. Really just want to draw low curve removal from here. We have enough value to win the day. Okay, so Meddling Mage we did not respond to, so they probably won't name Fatal Push. They named Trophy. Sure. So we're now kind of priced into, I think, just brutalitying that mage, because our only other spot removal is Trophy. Big problem there, of course, is that, like, this is a great window to hit the champion, but getting removal locked in hand is a good way to lose the game. Don't think we're escalating, because the rest of our hand's just pretty sweet. Even though we're pretty incentivized to escalate here on the draw, the only thing we'd realistically be pitching is Questing Beast, and I think that's just too valuable if we get to it. So the opponent now knows for a fact that we have a trophy. But, so if they have another Meddling Mage, that's what they'll name again, but then we get to start edicting once at least with Liliana, extending the game, so once again we just want to keep drawing more removal, a good variety of removal. And they do indeed have the other mage. So often you see them cutting either mage, either Ether Vial or Meddling Mage against us. Opponent seems to have kept in both. Makes you wonder what they did cut, if anything. Maybe they trim on Thalia a bit. Humans players have been known to do that. Another QB, that's not good. Now we wish we escalated with the first one, but we're not to know that. So now, like, ticking up becomes a lot more appealing, but I still think we're supposed to just keep chewing away at the board here. Alright, so million live draws, push, decay, pulse. Another brutality. Even more Lilianas is okay, at least like the second one would be okay, third one might be too slow. Champion's getting big though, that's why I mentioned that earlier. It's a shame that we couldn't kill him. We draw another trophy. Couldn't really get any worse than that. So all we can do here is play the Goyf. And to be fair, the opponent doesn't have a way to handle it except with the big champion. So we give ourselves another draw step here where we're still somewhat comfortable if we can answer the champ. But the opponent hits a Reflector off the top or a Deputy. We start looking real sketchy. It's also a little rough that there is no instant in the yard. We'd be a 5/6 if there were. Draw another Liliana. I'm certain that we're dead here. They just have to have any human and they're going to kill us, or we're priced into jumping with the Goyf. But they just go wide and kill us if we don't do this, so let's just keep edicting and keep hoping they're going to brick. But yeah, you can see where Liliana's a little clunky on the draw especially. But this loss is not on Liliana, it's on the bad luck of drawing trophies while they have been locked out with a Meddling Mage. That's very unlikely. to have 2 trophies and no other spot removal. So we're going to take this, and if they have something to violin, then we lose. They don't. Okay. But they have something to play. So if they just main phased that, they would have forced the chump block. Now we can draw a... Oh my god, they name push, we draw the push. What a tilt. Alright, let's take up, get a little more information. Losing to the Meddling Mage should almost never happen, but they had the clock too. Usually we'll answer this before it gets out of hand. They had the play, they had the clock. Alright. I don't know what it is, guys. I've been having a lot of this sort of luck lately in leagues. My results continue to be very good, like very acceptable and respectable, but the variance is still bad. The variance is keeping us from reaching the heights that I think we're capable of, that this deck is capable of. It's all good, though. So on the play, I like the 3rd Dark Confidant coming back in, and I still think staying at 3 Liliana's fine. I think we're just going to cut the 2nd Tracker. Confidant is a more ruthless form of card advantage that we can leverage a lot better on the play. Tracker in matches like this is often a role filler, like a numbers maker-upper, if you will. Like, Tracker is kind of whatever comes in or out depending on what your configuration is. This hand is absurdly powerful. If we had even one piece of low curve interaction, I would be extremely confident. We do not, and I think it would be a potential mulligan on the draw. But on the play, it is a keep. We have so many good draws to bridge us into the mid game, and we shouldn't lose the mid game if we can do so. Like, let's just draw a Collective Brutality right here. That'd be awesome. Or a Decay or a Push or anything. Anything at all. Or an Inquisition. Or a 2-drop threat. That's good too. Like a Bob. Scooze. Sure, Scoozy. Alright, so I'm just going to get Forest now. We don't strictly need to, but I believe it to be correct. So if the opponent goes Thalia, we get to Plague Man and Killer. If they don't go Thalia, we get to go Liliana Edict. There's the Thalia. You know what? I'm going to take this trade. It's not something I would often do, but we have the Questing Beast for the top end. And we're about to blow them out so hard with the Plague Man, it's unreal. Obviously, Scooze is very good in the matchup, but I'm pretty happy to use it as a Dreadbore, basically, for that champion. Because, one big champion is something that could feasibly kill us. Now, didn't know we were going to draw Fatal Push. Still think it's a fine play, but Fatal Push in hand makes that less necessary than it was. Okay, here comes a Freebooter. So they don't have a good play here because they cannot also play a 1-drop that survives Plague Man and therefore make our Liliana Edict bad. Interesting decision. I think we're just going to Lily Edict. This is a little soft to Mantis Rider, but just because we don't have the triple black to play her and hold up push. But I think we just need to get our push back. QB was tempting, though. And obviously there's always some incentive to play a Bob as early as possible. Doesn't matter. Plague Man, baby. Plague Man. Cannot be beat sometimes. There you go. So, awesome. Good match there, good series, and we get back on the board with a nice 2-1 against the human tribal deck. Fun matchup. Used to be harder than it is now with the Plague Man. I'm not, like, overly loaded down for it. We do have a couple... Like, we don't have, like, the cards that we might play if they were the number one deck to beat. An example of that would be, like, a Deathmark, or maybe we'd keep that second Abrupt Decay around in the main or the side. But we have enough. We have enough to be really well-sided against humans. And we're winning die rolls. So, this hand's obviously light on gas, but I think it's a keep. Discard is really what we want more than anything in a blind game one. And we do have some utility out of the land base and some flood insurance with a tracker, so we kind of hope we're not against an opposing interactive deck or something that can go really fast through our Thoughtseize. And maybe it's just one or the other, you know? Maybe it is probably one or the other. That's kind of neither. It's a Supreme Verdict, Snapcaster, Spell Snare, so it's a blue-white control. I think we're just going to take Snap, take the 2-for-1. We don't care about Snare yet. We can play around it, and we can also play around the Verdict. So, not a very scary hand relative to ours, but if they draw early Planeswalkers and permission, then maybe it will be. Now we draw a 2-drop, so we're punished for leaving the Snare, but that's alright. So this matchup's tough, but I think all of our Eldraine tech makes it better, and I also think our current configuration is good against it. Draw Liliana. Draws a Blooming Marsh. Oof. Oof. Am I attacking with the Treetop before they get a Field of Ruin down? I think I am. We're punished for this if they have a Planeswalker next turn, but maybe them playing a 3-drop Planeswalker is kind of fine. I mean, I'm punished if they have removal for it, but then we can't pressure the Planeswalker as well. But as I was trying to say, maybe that's kind of fine because we just want to go Tracker into Clue anyway. I don't know. It's an interesting call. But Treetop Village. The apes, you know, you just don't mess with the apes. You just really don't. Okay, don't have permission. They don't. They're just getting that field activated before we get a clue off of it. And I was going to slow roll the castle because I'd rather them field Treetop than castle, I think. But now I'm going to play it, now that they've already spent their field. We have an annoying amount of basics in hand. They have a path. Jeez, that's bad. That's so bad. We're already almost out of basics. There goes our main advantage engine. We really wanted them to have to verdict that. Again, like in a vacuum, that's fine. That's technically a 3-for-1 in our favor, but the fact that we're so flooded is very annoying. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the content lately. I've been branching out into mono red prowess, which has not done as well with views, but I think that's just because a lot of my regulars are not as interested in it, and people who might be interested in it don't know about it yet. So we're going to keep doing that because it's fun, and it's a fun change of pace. Ooh, Hexdrinker. Okay. So, I think we're supposed to play Hexdrinker and try to force them to have something here. And if they don't have something, they're going to have to verdict it. Like, we just don't have enough spells to fight through the verdict and then slam the Hexdrinker and win. So we're going to take the opposite line of trying to make them verdict the Hexdrinker, then hope to untap. Okay, opponent's just pathing again. Like, opponent does not need to path this early, and we are so punished for, like, we drew our last basic. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of getting the better of the opponent in these exchanges, and it just doesn't matter because we're just this flooded, right? We can draw out of it. We do have the castle. But flooding with the castle is real bad. Alright, so we're going to say go. We don't want to run into Spell Snare or Verdict until we can overload these things, so we're going to activate Castle on the end step here. It's bad if they find a Planeswalker. Hopefully they won't. But flooding with Castle is bad because it's like it punishes you for being so flooded, right? But against blue-white control, we can afford a couple big hits from our own Castle. And there's the field, so I guess we better do it now. Again, I can't stress how bad it is that we've drawn all our basics right away in this matchup. Ooh, Tracker's good, though. Tracker's a good one. Tracker's a good egg. We love our trackers. Alright, one thing at a time. Force them to have yet another path here. Which it doesn't look like they do, so they're probably priced into Verdict if that's the only answer they have. If not, I'll be very happy to make more clues. Okay. Supreme Verdict. So now we're going to shove all in on the board. We're going to lead with a Scooze. So we'll probably draw a Spell Snare. If it doesn't, we can like be assured they don't have a Snapcaster Mage in hand, and then we can play accordingly. Okay. So, now it's Hexdrinker time. We're going to put it to at least level 3, if we can. We can. Alright, so now their only real answer to it, besides like a Jason Summon or Detention Sphere, is going to be another Verdict. So I guess we're going to hold the Goyf, go all in on Hexy, and also hold up Trophy. Because if their answer is indeed a Sphere, we want to be able to Trophy it on the end step, and then untap with an unsummoning sick Hexy. We have more than enough mana to make it level 8 next turn. And they have 3 unknown in hand. We're competing well with them on resources thanks to these fine, this fine lady here. The Tireless Tracker was a big help. All right. We go for it. Okay, let's hope they don't have like a random Blessed Alliance or Settle the Wreckage main deck. They've got 2 turns to find an out to this. Hexdrinker, very nice in these matchups. And there's the verdict. Okay. Yeah. There's an out for you. So now we're just like we're just not going to beat a 3rd verdict. So we're just going to go... We were just going to go all in on the board. Now we're just going to be trading like this and then finishing with another Goyf. Do we care to push while their shields are down? I don't believe so. Okay, now it increases our clock by a turn. Oh, but they have Mystic Sanctuary. What a stupid card. What a stupid card. Again, we're just like way more punished than usual for all these paths due to our draws. Alright, well, I should have, if I was going to push this, I probably should have done it while they were tapped out. I just got a little tilted by the Sanctuary, and I don't think it's clear we're supposed to push it anyway, so can certainly afford to take a couple hits from it. Brutality. It's a good one, but I think we want to save it to force through some action. So we're just holding it up. The worst thing here would be a Cryptic Commander or a Planeswalker. Planeswalker. Alright, we're going to push this so they can't bounce it with Teferi. Okay, this I don't care about. We're just going to trophy Teferi before he gets a card for them. We draw Thoughtseize. I guess now we'll cast it. We'll cast one of our hand interaction spells here. Oh my god. So their 2 draws have been Cryptic Command and Teferi in the top deck position after getting really rewarded for a lot of other things. So the Mystic Sanctuary is just going to buy back the Cryptic. I'm just going to trophy this while we can. And the game goes on. We might have to start playing for the clock here a bit. We can get the Cryptic out of their hand on our terms with the Brutality, of course, but it's just another 2-for-1 in their favor. Okay, so they have a Cryptic in hand. We've got to remember that. It doesn't show up here. Draw Pulse. Okay. We wait for a threat. To be drawn by us, so we can force the action with Brutality. Scooz is pretty good. Scooz is going to prompt me into this. And I'm not going to escalate because we do still have another tracker to draw, and they have known counter magic in hand. They're going to bounce Sanctuary again. Such an annoying loop. Like, at least if our Scooz sticks, we can disrupt it. But that's a real big if. I got a Spell Snare. Snapcaster Mage. Okay. At least we get to eat a bunch of stuff. Alright, so no more Cryptic. No more Path. And I guess we'll take a Verdict. So if they want to play the Sanctuary now, they decide between Verdict and Opt. They go for the Opt. Okay, they did that pretty aggressively. Maybe they're just starting to worry about the clock. Or maybe they just have another Cryptic in hand so they know they can keep looping the Sanctuary. If so, we're going to lose. Still probably going to lose no matter what here. I think I'm now low enough where I'm going to try to push this. Good. Okay, there is some consideration again to doing that with the Opt on the stack, but... okay. Big Tef, yeah. Okay, you know, this matchup still really sucks if we're not drawing our Eldraine tech. And if we're just flooding. Oh my, Cryptic. This Mystic Sanctuary Cryptic loop is so much more tilting than the Cryptic counter draw, for some reason. Maybe that's just me. I really don't like those patterns of gameplay where it's just the inevitability of value. Like, I really don't like loam decks. I really don't like this loop. I like there to be some inbuilt question marks as to, like, you can get your guaranteed draw a card, draw a card, draw a card value, but that's more interesting to me than this. But maybe that's just me. We are deterministically dead here for all intents and purposes. We could maybe draw an out to Teferi in the next turn or two and like force it through with Inquisition, but we're going to lose to the Colonnade now. So I'm just playing for the clock here. Make the opponent eat up another little bit. So next turn we'll have Inquisition. Just for more info and to use up more of their clock. Monoleak Logic Not Cryptic Command. Okay, another few seconds eaten. That was brutal. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I think opponents' top decks were better. I think we got really punished by all those basics early. And then, of course, as is too often the case, we did flood at the end. We've got some good stuff out of the side here. Some decent stuff. So these things are all in consideration. Nothing too crazy. Again, our main deck is pretty well configured against control with the Hexdrinkers, the QBs, the Trackers, and then all the usual core stuff. It's all pretty good. We'll cut pushes. They certainly don't look like they're on anything more than Snapcasters. Maybe like a rogue Vendilion click out of the side. Nothing I expect too much more than that. These 5 cards or these 6 cards are all reasonable. Do we make any specific cut for it? Probably just one Scooze. You could argue that a Scooze is better than a Finks, but I do like the Finks against a Supreme Verdict deck. Do think it's reasonable there. And everything else is good. So, sure. They play Little Teferi. We'll leave our 1 of Decay in. I think the days of siding out Decays against blue-white control are gone. Maybe, just maybe, if you see like a deck like the opponent's that doesn't seem to play Narset or D-Sphere or Vendilion Click or Search for Azcanta, then maybe if you play 2 Decay, you can take 1 out, depending on your deck. But, well, that's a curve. We're keeping. Doesn't interact as well as I'd like, but Bob on the draw is always great, and with Liliana turn 3 being integral to our plans, we don't want to like slow roll the Hexdrinker. We are just going to jam here. Technically, I should be second main phasing this, but they're not going to path on turn 1 anyway. Certainly not before I start putting levels on. So I'm just reducing my mental load a bit, playing at the clock a bit, main phase that. Okay. So now we're going to have a real interesting decision here, but we do have the option to Thoughtseize into Liliana or Thoughtseize into a big Hexdrinker. So we know Mono Leaks in the deck. I guess we show them that we have the land first. There are some reasons to not want to do that. Makes their decision harder if they don't know that we can put 3 levels on Hexy. Thoughtseize will resolve. So they have Teferi to bounce Hexdrinker and Supreme Verdict to answer it. So we are not going all in on Hexdrinker. It's just not an I win button here. So instead, I think we have to take the Mono Leak and go on the Liliana plan. We got to pitch our other Hexy here, which isn't great, but Questing Beast is going to be a good way to answer Teferi. Problem is it plays into the Verdict, but we'll just see what they have. See what they do. The opponent's got a really good hand. I mean, what can you say? Okay, we get the big Teferi gone. Okay, there's the field. Here's Little Tef. There's the minus. So let's draw something expendable here. Blooming Marsh, yeah, that'll do it. Definitely pitching the Marsh. Okay, they pitch a draw too, so their hand is Cryptic, Verdict, and 1 unknown. Still a really hard hand to beat. I think we're supposed to price them, though, into the Verdict this turn by playing QB. We get to kill Teferi. We get to hit them for 4. We get to be really mana efficient. And if something else happens, you know, we'll see, but that feels good. No matter what happens, that feels good. And they might not have, of course they have the 4th land. The opponent's never really not had it this match. They didn't get Cryptic mana though, so do they have a 5th land in hand? Very possible. Well, I guess we're about to find out, eh? Yeah. So now they don't necessarily have the ability to cast Cryptic Command. Pretty nice for us. Hitting us with the field is reasonable in the medium term to fix mana. Are we just ulting here? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we were just gonna ult there. Then we just get to play the land and go level 8 with Hexy. Got him. Alright, guys. Really comprehensive win against control. Really comprehensive win. Even if they had somehow gotten out of that, we would still be, like, ahead on life totals and at parity on resources. And granted, they're a little bit favored from there with the top decks, but we still can beat them in that situation. I'm less high on Fulminator on the draw, but still probably better than other things we're doing. It can kill the stupid Mystic Sanctuary, so I like it. You know, like a cheeky one of Ashiok. I just don't think Ashiok's good enough in these types of matchups. And then again, we could bring back a Scooze, but I think Fulminator is just better. Remember that the opponent doesn't always have it. They can stumble. They never seem to against me when I'm when I'm recording for you guys anyway. Sometimes if I'm just like jamming a game here or there that I can't record because I don't have time for a full league, you know, I get given free wins, but doesn't seem to happen on camera like ever, which is weird, but just because they want me to show you the good content, and we got to mull this hand. It's an unplayable hand. Very annoying. But the opponent has mulliganed as well, thankfully. And they're staying at 6, as will we. We'll keep. And I guess we got to bottom the almighty QB because we're just too far away from it. The rest of our hand is fire. Definitely a strong one against control. Let's see if it can get us there. So right now our plan is to go all in on the Bob. So we are clearing out anything that answers the Bob besides maybe a Path to Exile. They do have the Path. They have Logic Knot. Yeah, I mean, I guess we've taken Logic Knot. They do get to go Narset, and we cannot immediately answer her, but the Knot's a problem for us at like every stage of this game, so I don't mind taking that. Opponent gets the Sanctuary down. Alright. So now if we really wanted to, we could actually Inquisition away the Narset or the Path. I mean, if we play Bob, it's just trading with Path. You know, I think we actually want to Inquisition the Narset now. I think our incentives have changed. We'll see what else they have. Maybe we could still take a Path. They have Opt. Yeah, you know, I think I'm taking Narset. them using this Opt is kind of strangely good for us because they don't know really what they need yet. You know, like they just kind of generally need a 4th land. They need other things. They need gas, but they don't know exactly what type of action they need. Our hand is painful enough that I'm just going to fetch now, even though you don't necessarily need to in this matchup. There are reasons not to. We're going to do it there. Ooh, Liliana. This is going to reward us majorly for this line. If she resolves. She does. Alright, we're going to pitch Fulminator here. This is the least impactful card right now. Like, playing Fulminator and hitting them would have been another line there. But yeah, we get the path out of their hand, and now we have the... Like, if we draw an untapped land, we get a great turn next turn. If not, we still get to try to win through their stuff with our creatures because we did get rid of a removal spell, so... Really interesting how this one's played out. Trophy. That is our pitch. Opponent going Snap Opt. I'm glad they didn't target Logic Knot. But it makes sense that they wouldn't, I guess. And they go top with the Opt. Yeah, we're still getting rid of Trophy here. And now we're going to play Goyf to defend the Lily rather than Bob. So presumably the opponent wouldn't have topped removal with that Opt. So maybe they fetch on the end step to shuffle away. They sure do. Okay. So we're disrupting even their little value there. But it doesn't matter because they have another Mystic Sanctuary in the deck. Like, see, this card just ruins the decision-making process, I think. So now I get to path the Goyf. Blah, blah, blah. Now I get to attack Lily. Yeah. Our position's still okay, but it's very annoying that they just get to tutor up the path, basically. Assassin's Trophy. Alright, well, I guess our line is to Trophy, then play Bob, then tick up. Obviously, this is a terrible use of Trophy, but we're hoping they just have a land in hand. If this turns on a Cryptic command, that's going to really suck, but there's just no way. There's just no way that's likely. That's just like the worst possible thing that could happen, so may it not be so. May it not be so. No, don't you dare. Come on! Come on! Really? Really? Or is this like a Hieroglyphic Illuminations or something? Or maybe... it's a Cryptic. It's a Cryptic, they're figuring out the modes. Insane. Literally insane. Alright. You need to brick your opponent. You owe it to us to brick, my friend. Brick. Brick City. Force of Negation. You wonder why I complain about this matchup? Our position's still reasonable, but you just, based on how this game's been going, based on how this match has been going, you just don't have confidence in variance to finally swing our way, do you? Maybe you do. Maybe you do. I don't think I do. I'm still having fun, though. We're still having lots of fun. But boy, oh boy, are we getting the short end of the luck stick here, aren't we? Please. Okay. I see you, QB. We can now beat a Planeswalker. Maybe. I still don't want you to have one. Still want you to have bricks. Okay. I want their hand to be like a path in one land, and it's a path in one land. Hello, shot caller. Okay, can't complain about variance for a little while. But if they top deck an answer and then they win, I'll go back to complaining, don't worry. This has been an intense match, no matter how it goes. We do have the clock advantage. Okay. Snap path here, super annoying, obviously. Good news, of course, is we do have another threat to deploy, but Tarmogoyf here is only a medium threat because their life total's so high. And obviously them having Snap Path there was way worse than them just having a piece of regular removal, just a regular path, but... Opponent... Okay. Opponent's all over the place. What's going on? What's going on, OP? Fulminator. Kind of a bad draw, but Grey Ogre mode is... got some utility here. We'll take them off double white. I don't think we're really supposed to aggressively, but we can do it. I am going to cast it. A lot of other spells it would make more sense to... Just... okay. Double top deck of Snapcaster Mage. You got it. You got it, my friend. I hope they bounce our Goyf. No. They're going to make a much better play of bouncing their own Snap. I was hoping the opponent would punt and bounce the Goyf. So now they got another Snap Path. They just drew a path for turn? Okay. My mind is blown. My mind is blown at these top decks. Okay, we caught them with no... like, they can Snap Force. I guess we make them do it. Or Snap Logic, not whatever. Alright, like, if they just stop out top decking us, we can still beat 2 Snapcasters. We're a mid-range deck, they're just 2/1s. But they gotta stop out top decking us. It's their turn to brick, it's our turn to go off. Let's do it. Let's go off. I don't even know what the single best draw here right now is. Castle Locthwain. If we weren't at such a low life total, this would be awesome. Holy crap. Oh no. Well, there goes the game, basically. I mean, we top decked 2 lands in a row after getting out top decked so radically right there. Okay, we're at 2. We draw a Goyf, so we're just dead. Absolutely absurd. absolutely... okay. We're not dead because we get a Locthwain activation. We dump out our hand, we can draw removal for these dummies. And the opponent has Stone Cold Nothing. And it's another land. Who would have guessed? Tough one, guys. Tough one. I do hope you're enjoying this anyway, where we're not wrapped up in results-oriented thinking. But man, I cannot buy a break lately in my Rock Leagues in either format. We're probably going to finish 2-3 or 3-2. It's still going to be fine. Like, we're still getting wins when the breaks are against us, but phew, I don't know what I have to do to get a run of, like, medium variance, to get a run of 50-50 variance. I don't know what I have to do. That's all I want. I don't want free wins. I just want a little equity here. A little equity here would be sick. But as I said, I do hope you're enjoying it anyway. We showed some good games there against Blue-White Control, just didn't quite get there in the end. We had a little bit of help, a little bit more help from variance. We get there, no problem. We had the clock on our side. We had, we've got all the tools to beat this deck. It's still not like a good matchup, but it's a fine one. It's better than it's been in a while, based on how their decks have had to be built lately, and how our decks, or at least my current 75, is constructed. So that's a winnable matchup, just and one that I don't like to play against. All right. Tarmogoyf in 6 lands. Mull. We've taken, obviously, a lot of mulligans, too. We'll keep. And we will bottom a Questing Beast yet again. Especially because we have 2 of them. Do we go... No, we don't go turn 1 Hexdrinker, because we could really need to Brutality something next turn. I don't know what I hope we're up against with a hand like this. Looks like maybe Storm. That'd be fine with this hand. So if it is Storm, there's an interesting decision next turn. Obviously, Brutality is good while they're tapped out to discard, but if they're on Goblin Electromancer, we want to save it for the escalated mode. If they're on Baral, then Brutality doesn't kill him. So I think we're probably playing Hexdrinker, or we're just drawing a Thoughtseize and playing Hexdrinker too. That's awesome. There we go, my friends. There we go. Okay, it is indeed Storm. They have Ritual, Grape Shot, Past in Flames, Serum Visions. I don't think we care if they Grape Shot our Hexdrinker, because we have Questing Beast. I think I'm just going to take Serum. We have Brutality to take Past in Flames next turn. And we're also threatening to go to a 4-4 next turn. Opponent will just Grape Shot our Hexdrinker. I think that's pretty good for us all overall, and I do like that we drew our 4th land. So I guess that's the one we're going to play to bluff a Fatal Push. And let's Brutality you, my friend. Monomorphose, Past in Flames Ritual. Monomorphose is a problem. I mean, this hand in general is kind of a problem. So I think I'm still taking Past in Flames, but it's interesting. It's an interesting spot. There's even like some consideration for taking Ritual. I just don't think, you know. We're going to have a quick clock with the beast, but it's not that quick, right? And yeah, they're priced into the Monomorphos this turn, and hopefully they just don't set anything great up right now. Like, we want them to not have a... We want them to just pass. That's kind of what we're going for with that play, leaving the Monomorphos. Nice. Alright. Ooh. Thoughtseize. Okay. I don't think Thoughtseizing now quite changes anything. Like, they can just go land, Gifts Ungiven. Like, yeah, we're just gonna start clocking. Thoughtseize next turn is gonna be good. This is a good matchup for us. It's not an easy one to navigate optimally, but it's a good matchup. Interesting one as well. And I'm certainly a lot happier to see it than Blue-White Control or Urza. Let's play Storm now, and let's play like Burn or another aggro Ether Vial deck to finish out the league. So if the opponent has like a bunch of rituals and Monomorphosai into the Past in Flames, we could be in trouble. Another ritual? Oh no, yeah, that's... Yep. Yeah, they found the other ritual, the Splice. Now they got PIF. Now they got more rituals, they got the Monomorphos. At least they only get one Past in Flames, you know? At least they didn't have both halves of it. But yeah, that's why there was a consideration even to take Ritual there. Or to take Monomorphos to just slow their roll through the deck. Believe we know nothing in their hand any longer. So the floor for their turn is fire off a couple Serums here and then Grape Shot us for 4 and kill our beast. Of course, if they find more rituals, it gets a lot scarier potentially. But if they have that medium floor, that's still very good, but at least we get to Thoughtseize them off of their second wave. Hopefully of combo, and obviously our top deck is still pretty live. Okay, they go bot with a Serum, then they cast the other one. Casting the other one is a pretty good sign for us. Again, if they find Ritual, could get a little crazy. Monomorphos even to filter into blue. There's the Monomorphos. Big Grape Shot. Alright. Storm count of 10. Drawing another land is pretty rough. Let's find like a Goyf here. Trophy pretty bad. Okay, Thoughtseize you. They rebuilt really well with 5 cards. Electromancer, who we can kill. Grape Shot, Opt, Serum Visions. Guess we just take the Grape Shot at this stage of the game. Then we're going to trophy the Electromancer, which is a terrible play, but... I guess we don't necessarily need to. Maybe if they go... Maybe we let them resolve their cantrips first, and then maybe they put things in a different arrangement. If they don't know they're going to lose the dork versus if they do. Instead, they will begin with an Opt. I guess that makes sense. Bottom there. Okay, why are we fetching a Delta? Is it because they're going to play Electromancer with, like, Remand backup now? No, it's because they want to Serum. Worth pointing out that this is Fetch Storm, not Fetchless Storm. We need to be aware of Blood Moon out of the side because of that. Okay, trophy in response to the first thing. So the opponent sculpted the hand really well. They also bottomed 3 cards that we shuffled back into the deck. So there's a lot to be said for doing that. The opponent again still has a great turn. We're still totally in top deck mode now. But it could have been a lot worse. And the opponent finds more cantrips. They can never have enough. They never have enough cantrips in the Storm deck. Another one. Another Electro Man. We draw Bob. I don't think fielding here is good. They've got to have more basics, and just like giving them an open mana at the end of the turn could be bad. Alright, opponents just got a brick. I bet they have a Gifts Ungiven now, though. They have a Past in Flames. Okay. Pretty dead. Pretty dead, pretty dead. Alright, this has been an excruciatingly long league. The opponent has us here. We're scooping. I don't think they're going to show us anything too spicy in a gifts pile at this stage of the game when they have so many advantages already. And we're clearly out of ideas, so let's just move on. So Ashiok can hit their graveyard and shut off gifts. Because even though Gifts targets us, they control the spell. Nihil Spellbomb, good. Plague Engineer is good at beating the Empty the Warrens plan. Collective Brutality and Surgical are both pretty nice. Murderous Rider is, like, not the worst, I guess. But I think we have enough other dork-killing spells that are better that we're going to leave them on the bench. So, we're going to cut trophies. We do run the risk of losing to Arya Flame more doing this, but I think on the play with our other disruption, we can beat Arya. Realistically, we do still have some outs to it. I think I'm going to cut 1 QB. Think Plaguemen, Brutality, Spellbomb, at least 1 Ashiok. Yeah, honestly, we do just basically want Surgical too, so we do have to make some cuts. I guess a couple trackers are still pretty fine cuts here. The rest of the deck looks good. Do we want a second Ashiok over anything else? I guess 1 Ashiok is pretty sufficient. You could argue for it over a few different things, but you could also argue to just submit like this. Oh, did we play 61 cards? Can we change that? Is this count lagging, or did we submit 61? We submitted 61. OP. Alright, well, 61 cards it is. Look at that. Great hand. 61 cards is clearly correct. We're going to keep. And here we have an example of a hand that does everything. We just might be a little bit choked on mana. So opponent has a great hand too. They have a Gifts, they have Triple Ritual, and Opt. So I think what we're supposed to do here is just take the least redundant piece of the hand, which is Opt. And then hopefully take turn 2 off for threat, and then we go Brutality for the Gifts after that. Because right now, unless they drew Monomorphose, they can't Ritual into Gifts anyway on turn 2. So I think we're going to play a threat. And there is a real tension here between Confidant and Goyf, because it's real bad if they drew like an Abrade or a Bolts, especially for our Bob. We're also playing around Blood Moon, aren't we? They could Ritual into a Blood Moon. So I guess for that reason, let's get our black spell down. That way, if they do Blood Moon us, we have the Bob drawing us out of it. We can still play Goyf and Scooze through it. And the opponent did not have a Bolt. They could find one now, but let's hope they don't. Okay, Inquisition. Good draw, but we're super punished for getting Forest last time. But this is still fine. We can attack Inquisition, play Goyf. Still pretty good. Just doesn't take away Gifts, actually. So is it any good? Or do we need to take away Gifts? That's super annoying that we... Yeah, I mean, this is what happens sometimes when you play around Blood Moon. I don't think it was wrong, but we couldn't really get more punished for it. Maybe drawing a Liliana, but that'd be about the only other way. So... I don't know what to do here. This is a super tough call. This is an extremely, extremely tough call. I mean, I guess Inquisitioning is still pretty safe. Yeah, I think getting the Goyf down is pretty important here. Man, that's tilting though. How great it would be to just go... Would it be to just go Inquisition Brutality here, right? Pieces of the puzzle? Alright, I guess we kind of have to take the value there. They can go Mountain, Ritual, tap their Canal and Gifts. But then they can also just go Pieces of the Puzzle. I think them dumping out their hand, we can probably beat a Gifts after it resolves that way. Let's just take Pieces, play a Goyf. Surgical Extraction and Nihil Spellbomb are two pretty good ways to beat a Gifts Ungiven. Alright, I think we gotta force it now. We're pretty soft to them getting, like, we can't kill their mana bears, right? But maybe that won't matter too much. They just let it resolve? Okay. I thought they were going to go off in response, so we're going to take the gifts. Alright, drawn 2 per turn with Bob has been real nice. It's been real nice, my friends. Guess we're Thoughtseizing here. Alright. Let's take a Desperate Ritual so we have the line to extract it. We're not holding up black mana for Spellbomb anyway. Just using it like a Tormod's Crypt right now, so might as well get our Skoos down too. We still amazingly don't have lethal without playing QB, but I guess we should probably play QB, or maybe we can engineer lethal by getting Spellbomb in the graveyard. Double Fatal Push. Alright. What is missing? We have instant sorcery land. There's no creatures in the graveyard. So we don't have an instant in our own yard to Spellbomb the opponent right now. Let's just play QB and go for it. We're holding up Spellbomb and Extraction. We shouldn't lose. Shouldn't lose like this. Okay. So kind of a clunky way to win, but a win nevertheless. The opponent definitely flooded on rituals and lands, no doubt about it. And we had not a perfect progression. We had some real clunky spots relative to how it could have gone, but we still had a very strong one. Still had a very strong progression, and they didn't show me any reason to play differently than I have with sideboarding. So let's submit. Oh no, I'm still on 61 cards. I forgot about that. Well, it worked last time, right? That's hilarious. I completely forgot about that until it was too late. Fields have been kind of awkward. Like, we're seeing too many fields in our first 2 to 3 lands. But there we go. Urborg fixes us. We're not playing around Blood Moon no matter what we do. I guess we're going to save the life here and play Urborg first. Shouldn't turn anything on for the opponent that I know of. Okay, they have a 2-lander, an Echoing Truth. I think we have to take Arya Flame here. It's a card we can beat with Pulse, but still a high-value card. Their hand doesn't really do anything once we kill the Baral next turn. Arya is a very good long game card, and they could have others in the deck. It's also nice to keep Pulse around as an out to the Goblins of Empty the Warrens, or indeed if they draw another Baral that we need to kill. So opponent's hand is, like, if we didn't have interaction, it'd be really scary. Because we do, it's kind of weak. They have a good amount of fluff in it. We'll see how it goes. We really hope they're not on Blood Moon and they don't just randomly cheese us out with it. That would be just like kind of the icing on the cake for this league. But Collective Brutality. It's a pretty good draw. But we definitely have to push this now. I think we're just going to get Hexdrinker down. We do have to really clock. It's very vulnerable for a while, but just using it as a Savannah Lions in this spot is reasonable. And hey, if they do Blood Moon us now, at least we can try to just win through it with Hexdrinker. Even though we're be totally mooned. Unless they like a ritual truth moon. Something ridiculous like that. No, they just have another Aria of Flame. So now I'm extremely happy that I took the first one. And now... So we know their entire hand. We know their whole hand. So we got to think about this line. Putting Hexdrinker to level 3 is actually super tempting. But we have a really good window for Liliana, we have a really good window for Brutality, and we have a really good window to pulse the Aria. It's tough. It's a tough call. I don't think Liliana's as good as she could be against the Echoing Truth Aria Flame hand. So I don't think we're playing Liliana. So the question is, do we go Pulse the Aria? Or do we go Brutality Spellbomb? Or even Brutality put a level on Hexy? I think we're going to go Brutality Spellbomb. And even though the rituals could really punish us with a nutty top deck, I think I'm going to take E-Truth here. They can protect their Aria with it, if nothing else. And we're going to play around their nutty top decks by playing a Nihil Spellbomb, rather than leveling up a Hexdrinker. Okay. Just going to go for the Pulse here main phase, see what they have to say about it. That will inform the rest of our decision a little bit better. Okay. They're just letting it resolve. Let's now attack. Okay. I think we're holding up the Spellbomb draw here. Urborg is allowing us to not crack the fetch land and still utilize Spellbomb, which is awesome. I think we're going to be disciplined with our Spellbomb here. All right. Okay, let's hope the opponent didn't find a Gifts Ungiven. Looks like they might have. They sure did. Dang. Alright. So we know they have a Desperate Ritual left in hand. So we'll just see what they give us, and then we'll decide whether we have to Spellbomb before we let them untap, or what. Lightning Bolt, Monomorphose, Opt, Serum Vision. So they're just trying to play the value game, just trying to rebuild. So I think we're going to bin the Bolt and the Monomorphose. Leave them the cantrips. So we know their whole hand. No need to crack the Spellbomb yet. We're going to continue to be disciplined with it unless we start losing the value game and we need to draw some action. But right now we're winning the value game. Liliana's great inevitability for us. Hexdrinker is a threat to run away with the game as soon as next turn. Okay, opponent rewarded for keeping the cantrips by cantripping into more cantrips, as the deck is wont to do. Okay. I think we're still holding the Spellbomb. Dark Confidant. Alright, so we can make this level 3 and play the Bob and hold up the Spellbomb. And have asymmetrical discard with Liliana. Pretty awesome. Opponents refueled a little bit, though, and made another land drop, which is definitely important. But right now we just have to try to not lose to them going off, which means we really have to lean on Spellbomb. If they go empty the Warrens, that's going to be a problem. But then we just go all in on Hexdrinker, and we can probably beat that too. They will opt to the top. A little scary. This is another Monomorphose. It is nice to have Hexy at level 3, though. If we had a couple 2-1 sitting here with no protection, that would be very vulnerable to even a medium Grape Shot turn, especially because they can tag the Liliana as well. But Hexdrinker gives us a great deal of power in this spot. Did they find another? No, it's Grape Shot. Okay. It's a big Grape Shot that cannot hit Hexy. So what is it doing? Oh, Grape Shot's a sorcery. Whoa. Okay, I did not know that. But you know what? We're very lucky they didn't have one more spell to tag the Bob. So once again, we're ahead. We're going to hold the Spellbomb because we're ahead. Drawing 2 lands is bad. Drawing 2 lands pretty bad. Wow. Well. Yeah, okay, so I don't think if I had realized Grape Shot was a sorcery, which I mean I knew, but because it's, you know, the nature of the spell seems so instanty, for lack of a better term. I had forgotten about that, but I don't believe we would have played any differently. Like, I still think putting the Hexdrinker to exactly 3, continuing to hold up Spellbomb, even if we had a Grape Shot on our radar, like a medium Grape Shot to kill Hexdrinker, I don't think we would have done anything different. Wow. Opponent just went off, huh? Holy crap, we've drawn 4 lands in a row. Come on, Bob, show us a Plague Engineer. Literally land Brutality? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This really sucks. Like, I don't know how much unluckier we could get. We have to alt them now, which is still pretty good, killing 3 goblins and 2 lands. So 3 goblins here, 3 goblins there, and we're going to give you 2 basic islands plus a dual land to keep. Literally don't know how much unluckier we could get in this league, though. Opponents totally in top deck mode, and they go Monomorphose, Opt, Empty the Warrens. We have like 5 draws, and we hit a Brutality in 4 lands. Pretty wild. Pretty wild and crazy stuff. So we're going to do this. We're also going to do this. I don't know what their basic lands look like, but I know that we have some to get. This might make their mono worse. And we're going to hold the Brutality just in case it's better next turn, which I think it probably will be. We still have a huge cushion here. The opponent does have a mountain to get. We were also more insulated against Blood Moon if they are still on it. At this point, I kind of hope they are. Oh my god, Baral, which we can't kill with Brutality. That's alright, we're going to actually draw gas. Decay. Sure. I think we have enough inevitability here to just decay Baral and pass again. Keep the Brutality in the back pocket. We're gonna lose this, aren't we? Plague Engineer? Another Bob? This is getting sketchy, guys. This is getting real sketchy. Like, it literally shouldn't be possible. Like, we have even more inevitability now. But I don't know. I don't know. What a league. This is a lesson in keeping your optimistic disposition no matter what's going on. Because that's how you get good results in the long term. But, like, I think I have some right to be tilted. Opponent with a repeal, the draw. This is all starting to go south. There's the Plague Man. Alright. Let's begin by pushing Baral. Let's follow up by playing Plague Engineer naming Goblin. Let's play out another Dark Confidant. Let's hit you for 2 and you're dead on board. Yes, another Pearl. Okay. Okay, we got the kill. We got the Brutality drain even if we hit Stone Cold nothing here. Kill Baral just because we can. Drain OP for 2. Got him. Well, that was a lot harder than it needed to be, wasn't it? But that was a fun game. That was a good game, and man, we are just walking uphill both ways in the snow. You know, whatever the old saying is. Back in my day, we had to do that, right, to get to school. Yeah, that's what this league is. But guys, this is why my disposition is optimistic. you can't get results oriented thinking too bogged down, too rooted in your mind, because our by any objective metric, our variance has been very bad here. Even there in Game 3 where we won, it was absurdly bad, at least in spots. We've been taking a lot of mulligans, all this stuff, but we're still 2-2. We're still 2-2. So just stay positive, keep trying to take the right lines, and you will have variance even out over time. It is very much fair to say I had bad variance today. I had bad variance in match X. I have had bad variance this month, whatever. It's not fair to say I'm just unlucky. I just always have bad variance, or I just mostly have bad variance. That's not scientific. We're due for some good variance, so we're going to keep this strange hand. So that's why you don't want to develop a negativity bias. That's my advice to you. It's fine to acknowledge bad variance in spots, especially for me as the commentator trying to kind of teach people who are newer to the deck how matchups should be going. But it's not fine to say, I'm just unlucky, it just never goes well for me. So we're against Affinity. This is a great matchup, and our hand is absolutely terrible against it. So we're probably going to lose, because they just have enough aggression to really punish us for this painful keep. So that's a little bit rough. If we just had, if we draw Blooming Marsh, we might be alright. But double Thoughtseize and Dark Confidant are some really bad cards altogether against Affinity. Again, unless they mulliganed and they stumbled, but that's just not how this league is going for us. So we got to play the Bob and cross our fingers here. Hope Bob just flips painless green lands for the entire rest of the game, and then we have enough removal to keep up. This matchup's great. Matchup's very fine. Especially because I don't think the random anti-grindy tech experimental frenzy, I don't think it's as common as it once was. Alright, they're just gonna blast the Bob. I mean, that's pretty fine for us. Just draw a green land naturally, please. Oh my god. No green land and another thing we can't cast. Overseer X Champion. These cards both just beat us. At least this will be a quick one. I think Overseer is the one we have to take because it's a quicker clock, and we do have the Edict for X Champion if we ever draw out of our horrific luck. I think double Thoughtseize plus Bob, despite our land screw, beats a lot of decks in the format. And we just have a good chance to naturally draw the land anyway, so I don't think this keep was loose. Again, we get max punished for it against a hyper aggro deck, but that'll just happen sometimes. So we hit the third land. Of course it's a painful one. I mean, that sucks. It really does. But we're going to... I guess we're supposed to be mana efficient here and hit the pest. We're giving up our chance at a future 2-for-1. But we want to give ourselves the out of drawing another green land next turn, going Decay Trophy, and then lining up the Liliana Edict, hopefully. Sadly, the opponent is drawing Blink Moths, and Cranial Plating. Okay. So yeah, we're just dead. They're basically just dead. Still need to draw that green land. Still probably can't beat him. We draw Urborg. Tilt. So we Edict one thing, they equip the other, we're dead. We trophy the plating, they attack us with the manlands, and we're dead. Might as well concede. Yep. Again, I point to the variance of this league. That opening hand, especially because we did hit the third land, the green land, it's going to be totally fine against half the decks we face today. But it's just not lining up for us, my friends, and that is okay. That is okay. Again, we're still having a good time. Still showing you some good rot content, right? So Collector Ouphe, Plague Man are great. Rider and Brutality are both okay. Fulminator is also a respectable piece of interaction here for sure. Even though they're an aggressive deck, the Kitchen Finks is not great because it's slow and clunky and they don't attack along the ground almost at all. Maybe Ginger Brute is something that might attack along the ground. Even that has evasion though, and that's not common. It's just something that people have been trying, right? So I also think we can cut a QB here for the same reasons as the ground blockers aren't good. This has not been a good league for Tracker. It did some work against blue-white control, but hasn't really been the league for Tracker to shine. Liliana's a little poor here too. Maybe 2 on the play, still fine. But I'm pretty happy cutting those 8 at least, and that's good because we have a lot of cards to bring in. Let's do it like that. I think we're just probably cutting a 3rd Lily. You could even argue for all 4, but again, we like that Edict effect against exactly X champion. I think I'm going to leave a Liliana in and maybe even cut a Hexdrinker or a Questing Beast to play like all of our sideboard tech. I think that's fine. We'll give the Rider a little action here. So do we like a QB or a Hexy better? Probably QB, because you need to invest the same amount of mana into Hexy to make it as good as QB, and that's really all these cards are, is like 4/4 threats, basically. I don't think taking this to level 8 does much, so we'll play a QB. But at the same time, having a Savannah Lions down early while we interact is fine. So we'll split them 1 and 1. Alright, we gotta win 2 against Affinity. It's very doable. It's very doable to win 2 post-side against Affinity, but it's also very doable to win game 1, and we didn't do that. Taking the play. Hand's good. We don't have any hard hate, but we got it like a great game 1 hand, and we'll take it. And they they do have Experimental Frenzy. Fortunately, we have Trophy for it. So, Ornithopter, Steel Overseer, Springleaf Drum, it's just a lot of fluff. For now, we'll take the Overseer. And we will have Trophy in the bag for Frenzy. And we have Push for another top-decked threat. And in the meantime, we will Goyf them to death. Another push, sure. So we want Affection Shock here, even though our life total matters, because not only do we have that one of Liliana to draw to, we also have now double pushes in hand and just other reasons to have double black. And you can see how Tarmogoyf is very good here, and 4 or 5 on turn 2, just by discarding a creature, that extra type. It's very nice. Okay, Signal Pest. It's a viable enough push target. I don't know that we need to. Okay, so missing our 3rd land's a little annoying, especially because we drew a 3-drop. I think we're just going to play Scooze. Hope they don't have a Cranial Plating to punish us, but even so, we shouldn't be dead. We should just be in pain. Okay, they blast the Scooze. Sure, makes sense. Goyf is even bigger. So now they get to go Frenzy, and we get to Trophy it before hopefully they do anything with it. Okay. We continue missing lands, so like even our good curve outs aren't really good. Okay, so before blocks we'll hit this. Yet another elusive type in the yard for the Goyf. Goyf we haven't seen much this league. It hasn't done much this league, but it's doing a whole lot here, right? So Etched Champion would be a problem for sure. It's kind of what we want to fade. They only have their top deck though. Arcbound Ravager is scary. how do we beat this? Beast, Blinkmoth, Thopter, Pest, they have all different kinds of types. I mean, we do just have 2 fatal pushes. I guess we just want to push the Ravager right now, don't we? Like, they have to decide how far they want to go into it without any other information, including information from their top deck. Just put it on Ornithopter. Alright, so now we can afford to hold up the other push. If the opponent attacks out with their creatures and leans on the next side of block, we can name Blinkmoth with Plague Man. Looks like they're going to do the opposite. Or maybe split the difference, who knows. Okay, so there was some incentive to push before Battlecry, but if we were going to push the Pest for sure. But I think we really want to wait till the end step here. Another Ornithopter. And that's exactly why. So now we can push the Thopter. And we can either Plague Man or Fulminator, whichever we prefer, our way to the victory. Okay, so what would we rather show them that we're playing? I think I'd rather show them Fulminator Mage. Suppose this is concession lag. Sure is. GG. Alright guys, that was sweet. That was a feel-good one, even though we didn't curve out ideally as mentioned. And I don't think we're going to change anything on the draw except maybe Liliana the Veil's even worse. Do we cut the last one? I never mind leveraging exactly 1 copy of her even when she's not great. The only time I'm for sure all 4 come out is against all-in graveyard decks. Living End, Crabvine, Dredge. But against Affinity, she's fine. Again, there's the concern for edicting an ex-champion. And there's nothing that I really like better in the board. Okay. So maybe after all this subpar variance, we're going to get a free win here to round out the league and finish it at 3-2. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? The opponent mulls down. We rip them up with Inquisition into Collector Ouphe that they can't answer, into a bunch of other good stuff. And hey, they're going to start with a mull, and look at our hand. Look at our hand. Keep. Alright. Down to 5. Okay. Call me the shot caller, guys. I'm nailing the predictions this time. Vault Scourge. You got it. More removal. Sweet. Unfortunately, they're not on Darksteel Citadels for lands, because Ouphe shuts that off too. So, I think we can afford to take this hit here. It's only a 2-point swing. Can be more disciplined with our push, but I am going to push on the end step if they don't do anything else here, because we need to be mana efficient with this hand, and it's a, you know, killing anything is good against Affinity, basically, especially a Vault Scourge is totally fine. Yeah, we're going to go for the Ouphe. It's possible that they're on Galvanic Blast, but if so, then they're even softer to our piles and piles of removal. They sure are. That's fine. This is fine. A lot of their stuff was hosed if they didn't have it, and even though they do have it, we're still in a good spot. Okay. Now I kind of hope they don't have another one. Even so, or again, our spot's still fine. But this Ooze is going to get pretty nice for us if they don't. We got 2 things to eat already. It's just going to get bigger and bigger as the game goes on. One second. Oh, then they do have the blast. Okay, well, I got a little bit of everything here. This is still fine, of course. But it's definitely, you know, we're definitely a little bit punished for our hand right now. Never mind. No longer will we be punished. I'm shocking in here because the floor of this is trophying their Blinkmoth, which I think is worth doing again. I'm prioritizing mana efficiency here over life total because we are so far ahead. My kids are starting to go a little crazy upstairs. I don't know if you can hear it. It's been a long league. We're almost done here, and then I'll go help out with them. Holy moly, opponent on triple removal. Wow. The dispatch, huh? Okay, and we just have all the removal in hand. Again, you know, this is fine. But, geez, they're really extending this game, aren't they? Oh my goodness, ex-champion. But we can answer it. We just have to push the Ornithopter, which is kind of crappy. And then we have to trophy this. And then we get to untap and pulse the ex-champion. So this is actually going south for us, it really is. If any of our creatures had survived, we'd still be in great shape. That's a 3-drop, so we've got a can't push it. And hey, Fatal Push is another fine draw, right? But now we're kind of sort of in a top deck war, and we're very favored. Oops. I just 6'd. Okay, we'll go back to 6ing. Okay, Murderous Rider is a good draw. It's a 2-for-1, and it's a threat. We want threats. So anything they play, we're going to swift end it. Yep, that'll meet a swift end. Field of Ruin. Okay, There's some temptation to field them right now because they might well only play one basic. However, I'm not going to because they just have 8 creature lands, and I think it's better to save it for those. But that's a very interesting potentiality there. Okay, now I'm going to field. But I'm going to wait till the draw step, just in case. It also turns on our Fatal Push Revolt this turn in case they draw Master of Ethereum, perhaps. Then they have like an island to fetch to cast it. And we just Stone Rain them. Beautiful. Well, opponent really taking us to the mat here, but I don't think it's going to last too much longer now that the Goyf has showed his face. That's what we wanted. Rider putting in some work too, giving us a nice cushion in case things go really south here. Another Galvanic Blast. You got it, man. You got it. What a game. What a way to end a crazy league. They can't Galvanic Blast a Goyf, and they don't have another 2 in the deck, so they can't even draw 2 more and Double Blast. So we're safe from that, at least. Play out the tomb now because we're going to be drawn to a turn. More incentive to have more mana available to us. Still sandbagging 1 land for the usual reasons. And we might as well conceal the field from our opponent there. Arcbound Ravager. Yep. It's a good card. Just going to push it now before that Opal resolves. So opponent technically not dead here, but that's the concession. Alright guys, you know what? You know what? Nobody can say we didn't earn our cashed league there. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I am talking about. We had some miserable variants. And you know, don't get me wrong, it is still pretty annoying to have the bad variants just because I'm not one of these people that gets to sit around and play all day. Like, I have to really carve out time to do it. I would love to be able to jam all day. I know we'd get a ton of 5-0s that way because even the bad leagues tend to finish 3-2. Sadly, that's not the reality of my situation, but I'm not trying to be the trophy leader. I'm trying to bring you the best possible content, and I felt like this league was pretty nice, all things considered, despite the bad moments of variance. That's going to happen to anybody. I think this was a good object lesson in, again, keeping the chin up, playing through it. At least I hope it was. Then again, maybe I complained too much to lay claim to that, so you'll have to let me know. The other thing I want to say here in the wrap-up is that my mind is being pulled all over the place by, as I mentioned in the beginning, Pioneer, Rock, Mono Red Prowess, and Modern. Kind of interested in playing some Mono Red and Pioneer as well. Again, just to change things up. And of course, trying to stay on top of the subtle meta shifts in Modern to bring you the best possible list. I am open, though, to changing up my list right now just because I feel I don't have like the laser focus on where exactly I want to be with Modern Rock any longer. So maybe we got some Patreon donation leagues coming up next month. Maybe somebody will give me their Rock list to play. I'd love to do that. Or maybe you can just give me some feedback on other things I could do here. I do like bringing in the 2 Fulminator based on what we saw in the meta. Of course, we didn't really play against the big mana decks this time out. But, you know, I don't know. So I'm definitely soliciting feedback for the list. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this league. It was a long one, but it was a good one. We saw a good variety of gameplay. We got unlucky. We still came away with a 3-2. As always, my friends, let me know what you think about the siding, the gameplay lines, everything else. And who should we give the thumbnail treatment to this time? I don't know. We might need to put that one under review. Questing Beast had a lot of things to say about how the games went. We'll have to take a look. That's a to be determined. Well, maybe it's just a removal spell this time. We had a lot of removal going our way in the matches we won. So anyway, my friends, we'll figure that one out for you, and I look forward to talking to you in the comments. Thanks once again to all Patreon supporters who do make this content possible. If you are enjoying the level of content I put out and the quantity, please consider signing up on Patreon. Even a few bucks a month does make a big difference in the life of myself and my family, and it gets you access to all the tier privileges you can read about there. Otherwise, liking, commenting, sharing, word of mouth is huge. Subscribe to the channel. These are ways to help me grow, help me keep doing what I'm doing. So thanks again, and I will talk to you soon. Hope everybody out there has a wonderful day.